So you want to know how to do tax sale overages recovery. Well, you've come to the right video because I've been doing this business full-time since 2014. I'm an attorney. I know this business inside and out, and I'm thrilled to share it with you. How do you recover tax sale overages? Well, it's really simple. In most places, there's an application process that you fill in a simple form and you submit it to the agency that did the foreclosure, and they process it, and a couple months later send you back a check. Now sometimes it's faster, sometimes a couple days later. That's unusual. Usually it takes them a couple months, they process it, and they send back a refund check. Pretty simple process, not terribly complicated. Of course, in any specific deal, you can get specific things that can complicate it. Like, what might those be? Well, it may be that it's a corporation or an LLC that owned the property. So the question is, well, how do we apply for that? And the answer is that a person who's an officer of the corporation or a member of the LLC can fill in the paperwork on behalf of the LLC and submit it. You also may have a complication. Maybe it's an entity that went out of existence. In a lot of states, you have to file an annual report with the Secretary of State to keep your entity or LLC or corporation in what they call good standing. And if you don't do that, if you don't file those reports for long enough, then your entity goes out of good standing and really can't do anything, including applying for overages money. So in that case, what are you going to do? You're going to reinstate the entity, which generally involves filing those back reports, and then you're going to pay the annual fee that went unpaid, usually somewhere between $100 and $200. And then you'll be able to apply for the money and get it. Might be an estate, so you have to figure out, well, who are the heirs that can apply, and do I have to open up an estate? Does somebody have to open up an estate, or can the heirs apply directly? And we'll tell you that in some states, the heirs can apply directly. In other states, you have to open up an estate, can depend on how much money is owed. So there are lots of details to learn, but essentially all those details are learnable, and the core of the business, as far as recovering the money, is applying for it and then just taking care of whatever details are in correspondence with that particular deal. Now, there's a second way that you recover the money, and that's through something called a petition process. And a petition means that the money is held within a court system. Usually it's held by the clerk of court. And the way to get money out of a clerk of court is you need a court order. And the way you get a court order is you file something called a petition. You can think of petition as a word that just means request. So you petition or request that the court refund the money to the former owner. And these petitions are fairly simple. They're probably 8 or 9 paragraphs. They're basically going to say, I'm the former owner, property is lost to tax sale, there's this much money left over, and I'd like the money. And then what'll happen is that petition will be submitted by an attorney. This is not something you do on your own, too complicated. But you turn in the petition, you'll have a hearing in front of a judge, and the judge will say, well, what's going on here? You say, my client was the former owner. If you're doing this as a business, there's $30,000 left over after the taxes were paid, and we want those monies given to the former owner. And a judge will then award the money to the former owner by issuing something called an order. That goes to the clerk of court. The clerk of court says, okay, we're going to write a check. They have a check written and delivered. This can be typically done as a business. This isn't something where typically former owners know about the money and go and claim it. The statistic is that most of the time the money never gets claimed. A good example of that is in one state, they do compile statewide figures every year, and 72% of the money goes unclaimed every year. So most of the time the money's never claimed because former owners aren't doing this because they don't know the money is there. They just kind of lose their house, they shuffle off, distressed and depressed and sad. And in the overages business, what we do is we contact that depressed, distressed, and sad person, and we say, hey, buck up. There's some money that you could get, and we're happy to do the work for a percentage. Would you like us to go do the work and no upfront cost to you? And of course, that's a great offer, so we get people to take us up on it all the time. And then we go and we get their money, and we get paid a fee for our services, and they, of course, get the lion's share. But we make two things. One is a great business. It's an amazing business where you help people and you make great money, and you're really making a difference in life. So we get that, and I think that's a business where you make money and help people is just the best business in the world. And you might ask, how do I find an attorney to help me with these recovery businesses if the money is in court? Well, it's pretty simple. You're going to look for someone who is an attorney that is typically a real estate attorney, maybe does some small business, maybe does tax assessment appeals. Anybody like that can handle these. These are very simple legal cases, not complex at all. Typically not very expensive. My budget for legal work on one of these cases is $2,500 a case, which is usually more than adequate. And that means what I'm expecting to pay another attorney for handling these things. And it makes it pretty straightforward. So don't be discouraged, but if you say, well, I don't want to invest $2,500 in the hope of getting money, I understand that. And then what you would do is just work in the states where the money is just held in the county office. You just file the application to get the money back. No attorney needed. And frankly, that's most of the states. If you're interested in more details like that, then I would say is, I can teach you the overages business with all the details about it. The way to get started with that is start with the introductory video. I did maybe a 10-minute introduction to overages video. You can see a link up there or you can see it down below. Just go check out that video. It's 10 minutes of time. Run it on 1.5 speed and it's like 7 minutes of your time. It's a really good, solid video where I introduce you to the business. And then if you're interested from there, you can come to our longer 90-minute presentation, completely free, it doesn't cost anything. And there I get into the nitty-gritty and you can make a decision and say, this is business for me or this isn't. What I would say generally, this is business for you if you want a business where you help people, you make great money, and you're willing to reach out to people to let them know that there is good money available, and you're willing to know that a lot of people won't believe you. Unfortunately, to their detriment, there are lots of people who we call up and they say, I couldn't be owed any money. I don't want to talk. This isn't real. So, when we're calling, we're not going to get everybody to sign up. We get a lot of people to sign up. We make great money with it. But if you're going to be in this business, just understand that's part of it. And just have to work through it. But it is a great business. If you want a business where you help people and you make great money and is relatively simple and inexpensive to start, Overages is amazing from that perspective. So I'd love to share it more with you. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up so that I'll know and get the feedback that you like this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll get to them as I can. And certainly go off and click on the link below or the link up above and go to my Intro to Overages video. You're going to find it very informative, and it could be exactly your route to your next successful business venture where it's very rewarding because you help people and it's very rewarding financially, and that is the best business ever. So thanks for being with me here today. This is attorney and entrepreneur Bob Diamond. I will hopefully see you on the Intro to Overages video.